Hey guys, my name's Confetti, and I'm bringing you a spicy little deck that has made its way to the top 10 of Masters on the EU server. It's been piloted by PCS Flaxout, relatively well-known Masters player who's been around for a while. And this deck is, I can't take any credit for it, it's his baby. But it's strong, and it's not what you would expect from a Zilean TF deck. Most attempts at a Zilean TF deck in the past have been full-on control decks, kind of been using a keg control package and using them too as late game engines. This isn't really what this deck does. This one is more mid-rangey, and it can be really quite aggressive and quite explosive, as you will see in some of the gameplay. You can just beat down and lay down the pain on your opponent really early if you have the right hand for it. But we'll get into the deck now, and I'll show you what it's all about. So, we'll start with the creature package. We have 6 1-drops with the Jagged Butcher and the Treasure Seekers. So your Treasure Seeker is your main 1-drop. You will be prioritizing keeping this over a Jagged Butcher, and unless you were planning on rushing down your opponent, you don't need more than one 1-drop in your opening hand. It's particularly valuable here because we're running the Shreem of Vulnerable package. The Wakened Sands gives us a free trade. It's a reasonable body for a 1-drop. And it just kind of artificially generates us a bit of card advantage and a bit of tempo on the board, which we're always happy to see. Jagged Butcher, on the other hand, again, it's a 1-drop. We do like to have a 1-drop in our opening hand. We have the Rockhopper. We know this card. Everyone's been playing it for a while now. It's got a decent attack stat on it, and it'll make the next thing your opponent plays vulnerable. Just use it to get some good trades in, basically. And if your opponent's not developing into it, you can push a bit of damage, and every drop of damage matters with this deck. We do also have the Zilean. So Zilean is obviously a really good engine if you get them leveled, and this deck levels Zilean more than any other deck that I have played. But even then, don't feel like you have to go overboard protecting him. We are happy for the first Zilean especially to die, because doubles the amount of time bombs we have, we're going to level them faster, and time bombs are just good cards in this deck. Plus, that thick booty he has, that 4 toughness, feels really good in the current meta. There's a lot of X1s floating around that some of the top decks are running. Obviously, nice favourable trades into them. And even against other decks, like something like, say, Pirate, Aggro, or Plunder, you can just block a couple of times when we need to try and preserve our life total, which is a useful little thing to be able to have. Merciless Hunter, it does the same thing here it does in every other deck. Just get those nice favourable trades with the vulnerable or pick off a valuable backline unit. Twisted Fate. We do actually manage to level Twisted Fate, which doesn't happen very much nowadays since all of the nerfs are Go Fish. We do probably level him probably 1 in 4 games, I would say, but primarily he is here for his play effect. We have quite a few soft kind of pings that hit the whole board, the soft board clears. And he's another one of them, and when you layer all of those on top of each other, you can clear out a board really well. Also, red card, pop spell shields, always feels good. The gold card is one of our only kind of outs against one really big scary thing, such as like a Nasus. And I find myself not having a blue card very often. This deck doesn't run out of gas. It keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. But it is an option if you've got no better ones and you just need to develop that 2-2 body and get that little bit of card advantage out of it. Zap, low-key, is one of the heroes of this deck. We play him, he's a little 2-2 elusive. He will push through that little bit of damage every turn, which is useful because it activates Plunder. Monster Harpoon is our only Plunder card, but you want to make sure you're playing it for 3 mana, to be honest. He also draws us a card. Generally, it'll be Make It Rains, it'll be Ruinous Paths, but every bit of card advantage is nice. Next, we'll kind of have a little look at the Burn package. So, this isn't an out-and-out Burn deck, this isn't Pirate Aggro, it isn't like Jinx Discard or anything like that, but it does have a surprising amount of reach that kind of comes out from what can seem like nowhere. So, the most obvious one, Ruinous Path. Need to kill something to activate it, but this deck can do it reasonably often just by trading on the board. I'd say probably about 3/4 of your turns this will be active. It's really nice because it cycles, keeps that gas going, keeps us to have more steam to be able to push through to the end of the game, and it's a drain effect. This card is actually really strong into your aggro matchups where you just train down the board to try and protect your life total, and you can heal up what you've lost. So we combine this with Make It Rain. Obviously it's not guaranteed first damage depending on the board, but it can push a little bit and just chip through. You'll find quite often in games you will attack, put your opponent to 3, and be looking at the board like, well, I'll lose next turn. And it's things like Make It Rain and the Ruinous Paths and the line 'em ups that will get you across the finish line. Speaking of line 'em up, when I first saw the one of this, I was kind of like, surely there's a better one of to kind of fill to put into the deck, just to round out that 40 cards. But every time I've drew this card, it's felt incredible. It feels like it is like, can potentially just turn a game on its own, which sounds a little bit crazy, but trust me on this. The fact that you can turn your Make It Rains and your red cards into essentially a one-sided avalanche is really strong, and then you get a follow-up with a 1 damage ping. You can actually use this to push a surprising amount of damage just on your opponent's Nexus as well, which feels really good. I'm only running a 1 of here, but I genuinely think this could go up to a 2 of. Maybe a 3 of if you're feeling really, really frisky, but I think that might be pushing it a little bit, because on its own, this card is kind of mediocre. It's but when you combine it with your other ones, it becomes super, super strong. Finally, something that you probably wouldn't think of at first glance is our Zilean TF. TF, red card. Quite straightforward, it's 1 damage to everything, including the Nexus. Don't forget, I'll activate Plunder. However, Zilean, his time bombs, countdown 1, deal 1 damage to everything, and when it's played, draws a card. You'll notice that a lot of the cards in this deck cycle themselves. It's why we don't run out of gas, which is really, really useful for a deck like this. Deals 1 damage to everything. That goes through spell shields, it doesn't pop them. Just worth knowing in case that's something that you're planning on using it for. But being able to chip in those bits of damage is really helpful. And this happens at the start of the next turn, which means it will immediately activate your Plunder for your Monster Harpoon, which allows you to kind of get some really efficient removal into this, because you've got kind of a semi-board clear in your Time Bomb, especially if you've backed it up with another one, a red card, Make It Rain, whatever, and then you can follow up with shooting down one big thing with your Monster Harpoon. The Time Bombs are incredible cards. If you hit Predict in this deck, and we do have a reasonable amount, and you see Time Bomb and you're not too sure what to pick, go with a Time Bomb, because it is always a solid card to have. Outside of the Burn package, we just kind of have a handful of card advantage pieces in the Preservarium, and in the Salvage we are running 3 Salvage. I feel like this could be cut to 2, because it's not very often where you feel like you're running out of enough gas that you would value playing a Salvage over something that would impact the boss and kind of develop your game plan. So I think it's very reasonable to cut that to 2 and potentially bump up another line 'em up. Obviously, Twisted Fate is card advantage Zilean in a roundabout ways, and our Ruinous Path cycles through our deck in the Preservarium. I wouldn't go past 2 of with this, to be honest. I think at that point you're kind of just making it a little bit clunky, and you would rather have the units and the spells to impact the board more. But the card draw is nice, and it means we don't run out of steam. It's a common theme here, I think you've picked up on it by now. Final couple of cards. Scrying Sands, you could absolutely cut this and swap it out for Shaped Stone. I think that will be totally fine. The reason why I prefer this over the Shaped Stone, I have tried both. One, it protects, it'll help us find the right answers that you want, including the Time Bombs, which are some of the best cards in this deck. And also, that -2 attack with the amount of quick attack that's running around, such as Akshan, it makes it quite an efficient combat trick defensively. And I found quite often against kind of your Sivir Akshan decks, the first couple of turns you can have to be quite defensive until you manage to get a little bit of board presence behind you, and this just helps you get that board presence so you can become the aggressor. We do also have Quicksand, which is another one of those cards I initially looked at and kind of went, why the hell are we playing Quicksand? Quicksand, not a great card. I was wrong. I was very wrong. Very, very wrong about that. Quicksand is absolutely amazing at shutting down a lot of cards. With how easily we can pop a spell shield, it can shut down Sivir and Ruin Runner, especially if they're going all in on Flurry of Fists. You take away their quick attack, you take away their double attack, the overwhelm, their ghost, whatever else it might be. That just feels really, really good, as well as the -4 attack. It's also super strong against J4, I was not expecting it when I first played against J4, but this card just shuts down J4 almost all on its own, because he's going to be challenging whatever's strongest. It's quite likely to be our Merciless Hunter. It pops his spell shield, it puts him to 2 power, he dies to the Merciless Hunter, and we still have ours alive. It's such a favourable trade that you can't turn it down. I am really liking this card. I don't think we want to go to 3, again for kind of similar reasons. If you don't want to sacrifice your board presence for playing more of this combat trick, which it isn't always as amazing as that, but with the way the meta is, it's a very good pick right now. And then finally, we have 3 Monster Harpoons just as a little removal suite. I would really recommend at the start of a game, take a second, think about what your opponent's main threats are that you want to save the Monster Harpoon for, and only use the Harpoon if either that threat appears or it lets you push lethal. Throwing it away is a bad move, but I don't think that's really something that needs telling, to be honest. So we will jump into a few games now, have a look what I do, point out all my misplays down in the comments. Please let me know what I'm doing wrong, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, Riven Action. I always lose this deck. This deck and Ezreal Draven are like my kryptonite. I cannot beat these decks for love nor money. I just cannot, ever. So we'll give it a go. Make It Rain is probably fine. If he's running the list that I assume he is, he probably has a decent amount of X1s in there. Salvage and Presbyterian. We need units, not counter drop them in. I'm going to keep this because it does give us the chance to trade into Akshan. But I will get blown out. Treasure Seeker. When I have the choice between the Treasure Seeker and the Butcher on turn 1 as a turn 1 play, Treasure Seeker is always better. Yeah, it's just always better. There's a rule of thumb. Play the Treasure Seeker. I think I would like to go very wide. So the reason I'm not developing further is I want to be able to keep up either a Monster Harpoon or to put a hook on something.
When will I find peace?
Every single time. I don't want to let them start Reforge and start that chain off. Plus, there isn't really anything bigger and scarier in this deck than the champions. It's built around the champions. Getting rid of 1 of 6 of them is a good move in a way that he can't try and combat trick his way out of. We'll put the hook on him. Cool. I think we'll play a Sandboy here. So the Sandboy gives us an option to trade into the Riven. Alternatively, we do have the Merciless Hunter available.
I do not break rules, I bend them slightly.
I'll do it again. Yeah, I'm not sure there's amazing answers for our opponent to this kind of play. Yeah, we'll just kind of chuck everything at him, up to and including the kitchen sink. I almost said the garden sink there. I'm not sure exactly what a sink in a garden would look like, but it's an interesting landscaping choice to be sure. I want to try and keep ball control. Having a bit of card selection mixed in there is nice. But these cards don't feel amazing. So we will be taking them down to 6 life. We can take them to 5 with a Make It Rain. Take them down to 3 with this. And it'll cycle draws and new cards. I think that's the best choice. We could absolutely have skipped that Predict. Was that a normal? Yeah, okay, it was a normal Weapon Hill. I was hoping it was Riven's. That is okay. It's not amazing. I would have rather kept Merciless Hunter, but you can't have everything. For some reason I was expecting to draw a different card there. I was kind of zoned out for a second and assumed I'd be getting something different. Draw a card. Okay. So, if the next turn goes how I expect it to, we will kill him. Because we will push for 4. That will die, and we will be able to Ruinous Path some stuff. But I'm not totally set on just open attacking and doing that. We need to explore the other options. We could zap, which would give us kind of a guaranteed 4 damage because he can't do anything against an elusive, basically. But it does give him an extra block. We could Rock Hopper. I think we Rock Hopper. This could be a huge mistake. This could be a massive mistake. But the logic is, if he plays something we can kill, these are activated. All we need to do is get in with Zap. Okay, he does. We'll play the second one. We have 4 mana to be able to play both Ruinous Paths. All we need to do, connect there, get in with 1 Zap or one of these little dinguses, and we've won. I can't see there being anything that really obviously scares me. You can Midnight Raid and hit us for his 6 damage or whatever. And we probably will block just to be on the safe side, I think. He's giving it Overwhelm. Is he trying? Yeah, he's going to try and get the sword out. Okay. Grappling hook. Seems fine. So we know he can't do anything else at this point, so we have won. We know we've won.
You lost?
Yeah. Fair enough. I think this could potentially be my kryptonite killer. So it wasn't on stream, but I have beat Ezreal Draven. Again, always lose to it. And we've now beat this deck. Even goes. We have game against every deck, which feels very, very nice. Okay. I have a feeling this is a big, bad, scary matchup for us. Azure is mean. It can do very nasty, scary things very quickly. So we're going to need some melee blockers. Zilean's good at that. We'll mulligan away the second, because obviously kind of useless. Salvage doesn't help us here. TF could stay, could go. He gives us kind of an option to snipe out an Aurelia or to try and clear a board of X1s. But we could also have better cards. I think we'll keep him just because he's versatile. Yeah, let's see how this goes. A lot of choices on that turn 1. Okay. So he's not exactly off to a fast start. I think Zilean's fine. Finding some time bombs seems good. The time bomb is actually a really hard counter to Sparring Student, because they don't get the chance to buff it. Obviously the buffs fall off from the previous turn, so it just goes back to being a 1-1 and dies. Getting for that 1 point of damage, it might matter later on. We do have a burn finish in this deck, so every point does actually matter. Let's draw some cards. Okay. Ruinous Path we can activate really easily just by blocking the Sand Soldier, so it doesn't feel too bad. I like TF because next time we can Merciless Hunt and we have 2 mana held up. And that will kill the Azir, and hopefully it'll kill Sparring Student. Of course, combat tricks are a thing. the deck we're playing against has 1,000,002 recalls. I'm hoping for a recall here. Not quite what we were after. That's okay.
Who says I don't share?
Spin it round, throw it down.
What now? Easy.
We just block both of those. It's fine. So I kind of want TF to die. But we can try and do the thing again next time, right? Yeah, seems fine. So that'll save us a bunch of damage to this, and it gives us the option to try and get him again with the red card. Question is that the best move, or do we try and get rid of the Azir? Azir is close to leveling up, but it is a lot easier for him to protect that Azir. And the red card, we will kill something even if we miss on this. Ah, stupid pigeon. I think red card, because Azir probably will level on us next turn, but if he does, we can still try and kill it with the Merciless Hunter. That's relatively fine, to be honest. Let's do this and hope to get lucky. This is kind of ideal, to be honest. We managed to get a deny out of his hand, which kind of surprising, I'm not gonna lie. I think we want this guy out, just to be on the safe side. But yeah, feeling pretty confident now. Could still go horrendously badly, but we have Make It Rain, which kind of helps. Not great. Could be worse. There's up. Potentially should have done Zap there. Ooh, second Make It Rain. Cool. So he is gonna level now. Okay. What you have seen today. So a little tip generally, don't block the blades. Because they just kill your units and you don't protect enough damage. The question is, do I want to stay on 14 or am I happy to go down to 11? I think we just stay here probably. We are going to get hit with a bunch more stuff in a second. It will be interesting to see if he attacks with the Azir. If he does, every single time we got blocked there.
What's that you got there?
Okay. I feel quite happy about that. He's down to 2 cards in hand, which isn't a lot. So I feel relatively safe in saying that we can Merciless Hunter. And then we have these 2 cards to be able to back up whatever we try and do. So I think we just try and hook with the TF. No. Gonna absolve her. It's on 2. Yeah, you can't cast that. Let's kill it. This card, when I started playing with this deck and I put it in, I was very doubtful, but every single time I drew that card, it has felt incredible. I think we'll block both of them here. I know I did just a minute ago say about blocking blades, but we are getting low now, and we are able to kind of pressure his life total quite a bit, so I'm hoping to try and finish him off on our next attack turn. It was always interesting. I don't think I've seen that in a Zilean before. That's nice.
See what we see, soldier.
Like a fish in water.
Also nice.
We dance
Okay.
to the drums of war.
If we just pass here, we know this is coming. So, I want to try and bet him. Block here, right? Like we're stupid. Oh no, we're stupid. We want him to Blade Surging because this card is the answer. That card is another card, and the Quicksand card, that always surprises me with how good it actually is. That's all that. It's just like it's a really, really bad hush. Got him. He plays well, but felt like we had all of the answers there. I was not expecting that matchup to go as well as it did. Pirates. Oh, poor guy. I hate it when this happens when you're at the top of Diamond and you get matched with Masters players. However, it's Pirates, so we can only feel so sorry for him. Don't think we ever keep salvage here. These two always keep. It gives us 3 blockers, and potentially this can even trade as a 2-for-1, so it's almost like 4 blocks. This Gangplank is a thing that we need to be careful of, as is Misfortune, but we have 3 of them in the deck, so it can go away. We'll just draw that later. Hopefully, maybe, probably not, knowing my luck.
Reporting in?
Go with a 2-1 here, because when it's just been pumped away to something that will kill either of them, it's the better choice. So we get that free card. What are we doing here? We'll just rock hopper. If it is made of sand, I can ride it. I love the voice lines on, like, collectively, all of these cards and the associated ones. So cool. Which, to be fair, I think a lot of the voice lines in this game in general are just incredible. Okay, I'm not going to attack right now, because we have this card so we can try and upset him next turn.
Wings off a bilge wasp.
Careful where you point that thing.
Yeah, not going to attack for now. Ooh, that feels nice. So potentially we could block Ruinous Path, Big Butcher, but we will have to see what our opponent conjures up. I think the scariest thing right now is Misfortune, or alternatively 3 1-drops. I think almost anything else, I don't feel incredible, but I feel like we can still play through it reasonably well. But Misfortune does hurt here. Okay. So, if he attacks and he drags like so, he gets in for 5 damage. If he drags here, he will get in for 4 damage. Either way, that seems okay so far. So I don't want to play a blocker right now. Now I'd rather stick to the game plan we kind of already have envisioned. However, if he plays another unit, I think we will be looking to just drop the blocker out. Okay, seems fine. Happy with that, I think. Ooh, I would rather he dragged with one of these two, but that I like. Okay. It seems fine. You take a few points of damage. We will regain 2 of them. Feels quite nice against this deck. To be able to just recuperate a little bit of health that you've lost, cycle, and be able to ping them for a bit. I feel like that's probably a key card in this matchup. I want to get rid of that.
Gonna find a gift for Renekton.
To be honest,
Right, Arda?
could have been a good choice to wait to see if we see a misfortune come down. But I think even if we do, we have ways around that. So, come see, come ça. What do you got, opponent? That's fine. So, I think this is all we do here. Reason being that if he attacks in, I want to trade with this really. I'm not going to develop any further. So I'd rather this is the one that's damaged and dies to something with 3 or more power, whereas this can still block into the hired gun.
War Maester,
Okay.
reporting for duty.
It's fine.
The Empire proud.
Don't see any real big reason to develop right now. Yeah, especially when Misfortune is a card that can still be played. Having the option of being able to Monster Harpoon or potentially Ruinous Path into Monster Harpoon feels good.
I shoot.
I think it's unlikely he has a Gangplank, otherwise I think he would have played it by now.
Farewells.
This one's a fighter.
This seems fine. Yeah. Basically, right now I just really value keeping a little bit of board presence. We do go down 10, which sucks, but we're going back to 12 right now. We'll just play that out.
Knows me name.
With luck, your bounty covers half a meal.
So I like the option of being able to go Waking Sands into Merciless Hunter. This lets us see if he develops and potentially hook in whatever he does, or if not, it denies Gangplank for a 10. Ooh, okay, Decimate. And it gives us the Monster Harpoon if it's needed.
Arda's gonna make a meal of them.
I think we only Monster Harpoon the champion in this situation, really. But otherwise, I think we're just trying to push like 9 points of damage to the face. In fact, it's more than that, isn't it?
Time to get rich.
Wrap 'em up tight.
What's into 3? Gonna feel good for you, buddy. No one gets Zilean. I think we'll take the Scrying Sands, which is really weird. But negates 2 damage from this. It lets us still be able to Monster Harpoon onto a Gangplank next turn. And it'll just keep us a little bit safer because 6 health doesn't feel very good.
Explosives primed.
Like a fish in water.
Okay.
Dead don't need riches.
Back with everything.
We live here.
Timing is everything.
I'm not sure I can envision a way that they get out of it. I think this might be it. Oh, you go. Feather? Is it second feather? Okay. I think we still have them, right?
Hunt down.
Oh,
Okay, and that's it. That's the game.
Always wanted to carve off those tattoos.
I've got to say this deck feels really solid against so many matchups. A lot of them I've kind of went in and went, I don't see how we win this, but keep winning them. Ooh. So it's Sivir Ionia. One of definitely the best decks in the meta right now. TF seems good. So logic is red card, pop spell shields, kills a lot of X1s. And he has the utility to be a gold card or blue card, but he's mostly here for the red. I like having a 1-drop when I'm attacking, but only one, I think. And Zilean on 2. I don't know if it's right to keep him, but we'll try it, we'll find out. Happy to see him make it rain.
Bring me tea to gain the strength of rivers.
So, I'm not sure if it's correct to trade into this here. I think it's probably not. We have Make It Rain, we have the red card. And so we have options to be able to kill it otherwise. By not attacking and offering the trade immediately,
For two.
we do have options to essentially try and deal with it in an alternate fashion. Big brain plays for our opponent. Wish my brain was as big as his, because boy,
Where am I?
I only do the small brain plays. Proud to say I have an incredibly aerodynamic brain. It's totally smooth.
When they run. Gonna find a gift for Renekton, right, Arda?
At once.
That's right. Run. Careful.
So I'm attacking with this here to enable a Make It Rain or a red card, and potentially keep this alive.
Dead
He
meat.
doesn't take the bait, which is sensible from our opponent, especially when you can do something like that. Honestly, totally didn't even think about that play.
Take it.
That's definitely a misplay on my part.
We'll get our legs then.
Okay. Play another one. I think we take a time bomb.
All paths lead me here.
We have 8 of them in the deck. We have 40 cards, so we have like a, what, 1 in 5 chance of drawing one? Which isn't too bad, but for now, I will take my 2-1 very happily where I can get it. He has played 2 Inspiring Mentors, and we've not seen anything booked yet, so there probably is a very big Ruin Runner in his hand.
Make haste.
Do it this way. We have a lot of ways to deal with that. Just throwing away our 2-1 just seems bad.
Chase what
Yep,
you want
there's
without
big boy.
mercy.
So the question is, do we value Eyeball and having 3 mana over TF? I think I want a red card because I want the option to be able to quicksand if it comes to it next turn.
Who says I
Popping this spell shield feels useful because
Scared of a fair fight?
next turn it's very possible that he just goes Young Witch, throw your fists, we die. So having something to do against that feels useful. There's the witch.
Can fly, Rib. Okay. Ow.
I'm going to play the Wakened Sands here because it will kill it, essentially. Okay, Sivir. Alright.
Smells like adventure and money, you
Didn't
mean?
quite go how I was expecting it to. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. He'll pass. Just for context, it would have been a very good pass from our opponent there, just give us that back. But I just had a gut feeling that he wouldn't, and he didn't. But there is very realistic scenarios where that play we just made does not pay off. Harpoon seems good. In this situation, it is a shame that it doesn't pop the spell shield there. But you can't have everything.
Watch your head.
You're fine.
There's plenty of killing left.
Almost got it.
I don't feel like I'm in an amazing position here, but
It's
could also be in a much worse one. So Sivir isn't going to level. How soft are we to a flurry of blows? The answer is very soft to one. If he flurries, we straight up just die. So I don't think we can really do anything there. We just pass back, so he doesn't have the opportunity to be able to flurry us. That's fine. Does enable Harpoon for us, which is good. Always happy to see a Harpoon. So we could just snap kill this here. However, that does give him the chance to play another Sivir if he has one in hand. We've only seen one so far. So I think we have to hold up the Harpoon until he attacks. Because otherwise he plays a Sivir, it's got spell shield, we can't pop the spell shield, flurry of fists, we die. So I think this is the way that we have to play around it by not killing it right now. Okay,
Looks like trouble.
we'll attack.
Nothing personal.
Okay.
Your attack is obvious.
Okay, so the Spirit's Refuge suggests he doesn't have a second Sivir. This will allow us to cleanly trade with everything. He will finish on one life, but that doesn't matter so much. Okay, that's a little bit sucky. It's fine. Yeah, it's okay. Why did that get spell shield back? Or is it just a little visual glitch? Yeah, it was just a little visual glitch. I got scared there. If that had spell shield, we would really struggle to be able to win this game. Yeah, still not gonna Harpoon it. You get a level Zilean, and we have backup Zilean in hand, so we are now going to be able to start generating a little bit more value, which is nice. Stun onto there. Okay.
Go get the shiny dog.
We'll play another one. Okay, so he's going for it.
Danger, please.
So, the only ban that he would have would be the Drain 2 card. But he needs to kill something to activate it. If we try and interact, it gives him the opportunity to do something to kill us, which I feel is just probably a mistake. However, I will shoot it now, just to play around a Sivir Champion spell. Because I'm not expecting him to get another chance to attack, and if he does, we have probably lost. Oh. Nice.
Tell the people what you have seen today.